All right, let's dive right into this explainer and unpack what is honestly a massive industry shift. If you are anywhere near the project management world, you already know the Project Management Institute's upcoming release of PMBOK 8 isn't just a minor update. It is literally the talk of the town. We're looking at a fundamental shift in how projects are structured, managed, and executed globally. So today, we're going to bridge that gap between high-level principles and on-the-ground processes and figure out exactly what this new guide means for you. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll be covering the PMBOK 7 tension, the PMBOK 8 reconciliation, the refined principles and domains, the highly anticipated return of process, AI and strategic PM rows, and finally, the PMP exam impact. By the end, you'll know exactly why this update exists, what's changed, and the precise timeline for how it impacts your day-to-day execution and your future certifications. Section 1. The PMBOK 7 tension. The bold leap of 2021. To understand where we're headed, we kind of have to unpack the drama of where we've been. Back in 2021, PMBOK 7 made this huge, methodology-agnostic bet. It stripped out all the traditional processes and anchored everything in 12 broad principles. It was supposed to work for waterfall, agile, the whole shebang. And hey, half the profession absolutely loved the philosophical shift. But the on-the-ground practitioners, the folks managing massive government programs and infrastructure rollouts, they felt totally abandoned. They kept echoing this one urgent question: where are the processes? How do I actually structure this work on the ground? And this comparison really paints the picture. PMBOK 7 was the leap, zero processes, highly philosophical. PMBOK 8, on the other hand, is the reconciliation. It doesn't throw out the great principles from version 7, but rather it reconciles them with practical execution. It brings back that foundational scaffolding project managers desperately needed. So we're getting a practical and principle-driven approach, merging two philosophies into one unified guide. Section 2. The PMBOK 8 Reconciliation, the data-driven answer. You know, PMI didn't just make these structural changes in a vacuum, right? They listened. 48,000. That is the exact number of global practitioners PMI surveyed in 2023. They did the research, and the message from those 48,000 professionals was loud and clear. Keep the principle-driven direction, but please, for the love of all things project management, bring back the practical, process-level guidance. PMBOK 8 is the direct, data-driven answer to that call. Section 3. Refined Principles and Domains. Sharpening the focus for PMs. Let's look at the evolving foundation and see how PMBOK 8 actually sharpens our approach. PMBOK 7 had 12 principles that were, conceptually sound, but maybe a bit operationally diffuse. PMBOK 8 consolidates them into these 6 broader, highly applied concepts. We've got systems thinking, focusing on value, embedding quality, accountable leadership, and an empowered culture. But check out the brand new addition to this list. This is a real game changer. Integrating sustainability. This means embedding climate, biodiversity, social equality, and community well-being, basically ESG, into every single project decision as a core principle. Sustainability is no longer just a nice-to-have footnote. It's a foundational lens for evaluating decisions. If your org does ESG reporting, this is a massive official shift in how project delivery is governed. To map this directly to your day-to-day grind, PMBOK also restructures the performance domains into 7 distinct areas. The old domains were a little tricky to map to daily work, but these 7 give you a highly practical framework. Governance replaces integration, scope now embeds quality, and drumroll please, schedule and risk are finally restored to their rightful places as standalone domains. Add in a broader focus on finance, expanded resources, and stakeholders absorbing communications. Honestly, the whole structure just makes intuitive sense. Section 4. The return of process. Structure meets practice. If you've been wondering how to actually structure your deliverables and what happened to the core mechanics of project management, well, this is exactly what you've been waiting for. The structure is back, featuring 40 discrete processes. They're heavily weighted toward planning with 19 processes and monitoring and controlling with 10. And these 40 processes are embedded directly into 5 non-prescriptive focus areas, which, let's be real, you'll probably recognize as the renamed process groups from older editions. But hold on. Here is a crucial caveat. It is absolutely vital to understand that these 5 focus areas are not rigid, linear project phases. You are entirely expected to tailor these 40 processes to fit your specific methodology. A single project phase might actually contain activities from multiple focus areas at the exact same time. Whether you're using waterfall, adaptive, agile, or a hybrid approach, these processes are your toolkit, not your straitjacket.
Section 5. AI and Strategic PMOs, Navigating the Modern Landscape.
Okay, let's dive into the totally new stuff, reflecting where the modern landscape is undeniably heading. For the first time ever, PMI includes a full appendix completely dedicated to artificial intelligence. And I love how they've compartmentalized this kind of daunting technology into 3 highly actionable steps. The 3 A's: automation for routine tasks and reporting, assistance for risk analysis and stakeholder mapping, and augmentation for high-level decision support and scenario modeling. Because let's face it, your teams are going to use AI tools whether the framework acknowledges it or not.
Along those same lines, PMBOK 8 completely reframes the project management office. The days of the PMO acting as the feared process police are officially over. Out are the compliance gatekeepers, in are strategic enablers. Modern PMOs under this new guide are measured by how well they align their services to organizational goals and focus on value delivery. It's all about strategic execution now, not just counting how many templates got filled out correctly. Section 6. The PMP Exam Impact, Your Actionable Timeline. So, how does this great reconciliation actually affect your career progression and certification journey? Let's look at the timeline. The digital release drops November 2025, followed by the print release in January 2026. But since today is June 11, 2026, the date you really need to circle on your calendar is July 9th. That's less than a month away, folks. That is when the PMP exam officially updates. Remember, the exam is based on the exam content outline, which changes to follow the publication. If you're taking the test before July 2026, stick to PMBOK 7. But if you're testing after July 9th, you absolutely must align your studying to this new PMBOK 8 framework. Honestly, this quote perfectly sums up the entire update. PMBOK 8 provides the process scaffolding practitioners needed without going back to the rigid prescription of the 6th edition. It really is the ultimate balancing act. It validates the principles first thinking of PMBOK 7, acknowledges that it was maybe a bit incomplete, and supplies the structure required for complex, real-world execution. As you navigate this highly strategic shift in our industry, I want to leave you with this thought. With processes officially returning, sustainability becoming a core principle, and AI formally entering the framework, how will you adapt your execution strategy moving forward? Ask yourself how you can leverage these restored tools to deliver unprecedented value in your very next project. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you in the next one.